I'd like to congratulate my fellow Hall of Fame inductees. What a great honor it is to be inducted in the Clarion Sports Hall of Fame. It seems like yesterday, not 50 years ago, that I started my career here at Clarion. We walked through campus a little bit earlier and looked around and thought, where did all these buildings come from? They weren't here when we were here. It really has changed quite a bit. But when I came out of high school, I chose Clarion because it had a great education program, it had a great football program, and it was close to home. Get the laundry home, see my family, all those good kinds of things that we had. Excuse me. I want to thank Clarion for, again, preparing me for my life's work as a teacher and a coach, and as a husband and a father. Also introducing me to many friends, including my wife, Amy. I had an opportunity when I was a senior to take either anthropology or sociology, and I really wanted to take anthropology. But the story out there is that the anthropology professor didn't care much for football players. So I chose sociology. It was in the new Pierce Science Building with the new auditorium. It was one of those big classes, and I sat beside my wife, thanks to the Tregesers, and long story short, we've been married ever since. By the way, the new science building is not there anymore. It's gone. It's very nice to be chosen to the Hall of Fame, but football is truly a team sport. And I was fortunate enough to play on some very good teams. But good teams are made up of good and great players. And I, again, was fortunate enough to play with some great players. Not only great players, but also good people. And I, again, am honored to call them friends. I can remember the first step on campus. Becht Hall was the dining hall back then. And I think it's Ballantyne. Is that the next one over? That's where we were staying when we came on campus. And the first man I met was Rich Sneebel. Rich is a great man, but he was a little, I'll let it go at that. But again, there's many players that I'd like to mention, Bo Gaetano, Tom Kurtz, and also my roommate, Art Tregeser. Again, many great friends, and I like to thank them all for the opportunity to have played with them. Excuse me. As any great program goes, regardless of what the team is, usually the leadership is what takes the key role. We had a good program, a good football program here at Clarion. And again, we had an outstanding staff that helped us along our way. I'd like to thank Coach Jacks and Coach Rislavich. I would like to thank Coach Knowles for their leadership, for their coaching abilities, for the things that they taught us, for the mentoring that they had to do for young athletes away from home for the first time. Also for the mentoring that they had to do as we transitioned from the times of college and football into our life's work. And there was a few phone calls made as we progressed into that, and I appreciate all that help past football. Also, I'd like to mention Coach Lignelli, Coach Bub, and Coach Pay for their part in the success of the football program at that time. Excuse me. I would also like to thank my family for their love and support. I'd like to thank my parents for the old school work ethic that they I want to say pushed on us, but they really didn't. But we really appreciate the fact that they stressed education and stressed the fact that we needed to have that education to get on in our life. I'd like to thank my sister, who paved the way to Clarion, all the way from Kane. She was here before I came and graduated a couple years before I did. I'd like to thank my wife and my children, Mike, Jay, and Nick, and their spouses, all of who are teachers and coaches. I guess my wife and I were both teachers. We were retired. But it's nice to see that they see something good in what we did as a profession, and they carry on that tradition. I'd also like to thank my grandchildren. Unfortunately, they are too young to be here at this time. They were at the reception, and they needed to go to the swimming pool. They had too much energy. But it's nice for them. They keep us busy, and they keep us young, chasing after them. To give you a little example, this fall, my son coaches high school football. We went to a game on Friday night in Jamestown, New York. Got early hour in the morning and drove for a 8 o'clock soccer game in Aliquippa. Drove on to Washington and Jefferson College for a football game in the afternoon, and then turned around and drove back to Detroit for the Sunday game with the Detroit and San Diego Chargers. So we kind of follow our children around, and now I'm hoping we can do the same with our grandchildren. Again, I would like to thank also my God for the many blessings for myself and my family. Again, thank you, God bless, and have a great night.